Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ecom Power, the only podcast out there for Walmart sellers. And with my co-founder Norm, how you doing today?
I am doing great, thanks. Nice, warm, sunny day.
Oh, I know but it's actually overly hot everywhere right now. Everybody's complaining. No, for you it's good.
Not in northern Canada.
No, okay, good. We should go visit there right now. It's like
Sure.
over 100 here, but yeah. Um, Yeah, today we have an amazing speaker, an amazing topic.
Right. So today, very important topic, like you just said, Michal. We're going to be talking about how to protect your Walmart brand. So just in case you're wondering, Amazon is not the only time you have to protect your brand. When you're getting onto Walmart, you've got to do exactly the same. You have to protect it. So today, we're going to be going over the Walmart brand portal. What's the most common mistakes when it comes to protecting your brand? And what other types of intellectual property should we be looking at? So today, welcome to the Ecom Power podcast. And now a quick word from our sponsor. Are you struggling with your Walmart marketplace business? Do you need help from a skilled and reliable virtual assistant? Well, look no further than Virtual Assistant Academy or VAA Philippines. VAA specializes in locating, screening, training, and supporting high quality Walmart VAs in the Philippines. Their VAs receive extensive Walmart training and ongoing professional development and are committed to long term working relationships with you. Partner with VAA and experience the peace of mind knowing that you have a dedicated Walmart trained VA who's up to date with the latest tools and trends in the dynamic Walmart marketplace. Head over to VAAphilippines.com and let VAA match you with your ideal VA today.
All
All
right,
right.
so let our guest come on, Yael Cabilly. Hi, Yael.
Cabilly. Hi, how's it going? How are you?
Very good. So we were going to announce your bio, but you said I can do it better. So who is Yale?
Maybe not better, but maybe easier. So yeah, I wear two hats. So my bio is a little long and annoying to describe. I'm founder of Cabilly Co, which is a law firm that focuses on e-commerce. We've been working since 2016, representing, I think today, over 7,000 e-commerce sellers over the world. So that's the law firm. In 2018, I founded with two partners Fortunet, which is an investment bank helping e-commerce sellers selling their business. So it includes, of course, Walmart sellers, Amazon sellers, and Shopify, or all types of e-commerce businesses, even SaaS and agencies.
Okay, I'm just kind of curious. You just mentioned something that that just came to mind. It's not on today's, questions,
Right.
but the valuations for e-com stores. Are you starting to see those change now that Walmart's becoming more and more popular? Is it more of a factor?
Yes, it's a factor that we see it more in the size of the businesses. So I was speaking with Michal earlier. 2, 3 years ago, Walmart wasn't even mentioned. It was just something else, and some businesses had something small on Walmart. Now we see them grow. Michal was just mentioning that 25% or over what, 500K
Over
in
over
revenue.
25% of Walmart sellers are making more than 500K a year.
Yeah, it's I think it's unbelievable when you
Yeah.
compare it to other marketplaces, and the exits that we see still today. Most of the Walmart businesses that we sell are part of an entire portfolio. So it's this and a D2C business and maybe an Amazon business. So it's usually not just standalone. But the way it looks like right now, and when we look at the growth, it looks like we're going to see maybe a year from now those large exits that we saw on Amazon coming into
Oh
Walmart.
yeah. I
Okay.
see it. I tell everybody this is it can be if you missed your Amazon exit, you still have a chance with Walmart.
Right. And I just want to be clear though, with that 500,000 figure, Walmart has huge brands on it, right? So that does take those bigger brands into consideration. Like
Of
it's,
course.
I'd like to see, if we could pull out a number, and I think that would be pretty hard to do. But if we talk to some of our contacts over at Walmart to see what the average micro brand is doing
Right.
over there at some point, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there are brands moving $500,000 a month in product, and that's incredible
Yeah.
online. So, anyways, I have been charged by Michal to ask you the first question. And that
Go
is
for it.
okay, it's a
I
biggie.
know you like
Try.
that question, so I give it to you.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Walmart brand portal. So similar to brand registry, Walmart has something called the brand portal. So what exactly does it do?
Right. Yeah, so the purpose of the portal is just to make it easier for you to complain against infringers. So you have someone using your brand, you want to file a complaint. So while in the past you had to go, and you can still do it today, by the way, you can go on their complaint form, you fill out the form, and then you just wait for a response. There's not one place where you can look at all your complaints. Now there's a centralized portal where you can upload your different brands, so you may have more than one brand, and all your different complaints, and you can follow and see where they stand and if they were accepted, etc. It's easier, it's cleaner, it's faster. It's pretty easy to enroll, actually, even easier than the brand registry, than Amazon brand registry. And as of now, it's quite fast. I hope it won't change because it's quite new. And yeah, I mean, I was pretty impressed to see what they did in such a short period of time.
So it's all of your brands in one area. So you don't have
Correct.
to go log in separately. It's just all condensed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, correct.
And another something really interesting about the brand portal, even if you're not a seller on Walmart and you have a brand, you can go and register your brand to protect your brand, even though if you don't sell, but somebody else selling your brand and you wanna somebody copy your brand, so you still can go and just register your brand. So so Yael, why what seller need to have to apply to the brand portal, and what's the benefits?
Yeah, so you need to have a registered trademark. Right now, it's only for the United States. They haven't opened it for Europe or Canada or other countries. So sorry, Canada. But I'm hoping they will pretty fast. It was the same with Amazon at the beginning. It was only for the US. They tested it, so how it works, and then they open it. So you need a registered trademark for that. Once you have it, you can again upload it. It's just a few minutes. Their questionnaire is pretty straightforward. You apply for it and you get a confirmation pretty fast. So quite simple. You mentioned, by the way, just getting into what you described. If there's somebody using your brand and that's not you and that's a knockoff, that's a clear one that you can complain about. What you cannot complain about is an unauthorized seller. So if I'm Nike and you bought the original shoes from one of my distributors, I don't know, in Germany, and then you resell it in the US, although I didn't allow you, but you're actually selling the genuine real products that you bought from Germany. If you resell them on Walmart, I will not be able to use that portal to remove you because that's not it's not part of the program, and it's not even trademark infringement.
Yeah,
um,
actually, I had a really interesting conversation about this issue with a couple of people from Walmart themselves and what they're saying, and I completely understand. It's like they want to keep the competition in there, so they don't
right,
want to start
sure,
handling sellers that come in and put in offers. They
right,
will protect you, but they don't want to go into and just start removing sellers whenever when you you credit your page or you own the brand and now other people come in. They
exactly.
really don't want to handle that, and it's like they're stuck in the middle. you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they have to think what's good for them, and what's good for
They
them is more sellers and more offers.
Exactly. It's the same on Amazon. Amazon as well as writes that on every page that they have. But they also follow the law. There's not really the law, the doctrines, but there are case laws that explain that if you sold, it's called the first sale doctrine. If you are Nike and you sold it to someone in Germany, you already sold. You already received money for these products. From there on, that person is allowed to resell the product to someone else, and that's not infringement. It's the
Right.
real thing. You received, there was a first sale. So according to the first sale doctrine, that's not an infringement, and this is why Walmart is saying we do not interfere in that. That's not considered an infringement. It may be a violation of some contractual relationships. So, for example, I have a contract with the person in Germany, and that person is not allowed to resell to someone in the US so that they sell, right? They're supposed to sell to people in their country. So there may be a violation of contract, but Walmart doesn't care about that. That's not what they're here to resolve. They're here to resolve counterfeit, knockoffs, whatever you want to call it, but not the real product.
Yeah, it's a free market. That's how they describe it. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of clients that we've come across. This is on the other platform, the A guy. Okay,
Yeah.
so people have got into trouble legally because what they've done is when they enroll in like a Project Zero, for example, where you can remove people, but again, it comes to you can remove counterfeiters. And if this person has got this from a distributor and they're selling it online or wherever they get their product, you had a huge, huge Prime Day sale, and now they can sell it at a
Right.
profit, whatever that is. You knock them off. You tell me if I'm
You'll be
wrong,
removed.
but you
You'll
could
be
be
removed.
in legal trouble.
Expelled. Yeah, you first you'll be expelled from the program, and we're actually waiting to see it on the Walmart. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it will appear, or maybe it has already appeared. People getting expelled from the program just because they filed wrongful complaints. So it may happen. So that's one. And obviously filing a fake complaint is interfering with their business, and you can obviously file a lawsuit against that person for your loss of sales during that time. So don't do it unless you're absolutely sure this is an infringement. A clear case of infringement is if you bought the product, your brand appears on it, or your brand, or it was presented as if it's your brand, so either on your listing or on the product itself, but it is not your product, it's not the original one. Okay, so that's counterfeit, and if that's the case, that's a clear trademark infringement. Or if someone is using the name of your brand, let's say your brand is Avanci, and then it's just behind you,
Yeah.
sorry. uh,
Great company, by the way.
yeah. So let's say this is the brand, and then somebody uses the same brand or a confusingly similar brand. Then you could certainly file a complaint. Do not file it if you don't know if it's your product or not. Okay, if it's someone who bought it when you were on I don't know, some kind of a deal, and then they resell it, that's not a violation.
So one
Yeah.
of the things that I do when this happens to me, and I don't know if you can do it on Walmart, and that's why I'm going to ask this. So when I find out that there's somebody possibly counterfeiting a product, and I do have a brand that this happens to all the time, so I'll buy it, and when I get it, I'll take a picture of it, and
Right.
then I wrap it in craft paper and I put in big, thick black magic markers, send it back to Amazon, and I'll say, do not restock,
Uh-huh.
counterfeit.
Yeah.
And then I'll complain. And then usually they'll get suspended, like suspended. And, then I've got something like that, something to show the other guy. And I have proof. Can I do that
Right.
with Walmart?
Yeah, I don't know if they would react the same for this exact particular scenario. Technically, you could. Walmart is really cracking down on the counterfeit
Yeah.
in the past year, and we're seeing them being better and better at enforcing the rights. I'm sure Michal can attest
Yeah,
as well. Like
I had
2 3 years
clients.
ago, it wasn't as easy as it is today.
Yeah, I had clients that did that. That somebody was selling a counterfeit on their listing. They ordered the product, they took picture, they opened the case, and that seller was removed.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but he was referring to sending it back to Amazon,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No,
You're
with
referring
Walmart, you just need to prove
exactly. So that
when like
right.
just a
So,
complaint. I don't know. No, you don't need to ship it to them. I didn't hear about that. But
you
the
don't even
norm
have to
always like
show
to
them.
take the extra step. So
Yeah. With Walmart today and most platforms, you don't even have to show the images. I mean, they rely on your declaration that this is counterfeit. So this is really going the extra mile. But let's see what happens if you return it. By the way, you have to make sure that it's compliant with Amazon's terms of service what you're doing, but that's a separate discussion.
Right. Yeah. Um, okay. So, are there any types of brands that cannot be successfully registered?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Or
yeah, yeah.
and
So
what are the best? Like, are there some that stream through no problem, or are there some that take a little bit longer, and then are there some that just you can't do?
yeah, okay. So let's start with the easy part.
Okay.
If you're absolutely describing what your product is, you won't get a trademark. So, for example, if you're selling computers and your trademark is great computers, you won't get it. Why? Because a trademark gives you a monopoly over a word, and nobody will give you a monopoly over great computers when you're selling computers. It doesn't make sense. Okay. But that right, we understand it. We do not want to give someone the ability to kind of hijack a specific word in a specific category unless this word is not related to that category. So let's take Apple, for example. Apple is a great name when it comes to computers or phones, because it has nothing. Apples and phones have nothing to do. It doesn't describe what you do. But if you sell apples and vegetables, calling your store Apple could be a problem,
Mm.
okay? Because that kind of describe what it is. So, for example, American Airline, that's a completely descriptive name. I'm sure it was very difficult for them to register it as a trademark at the beginning because it describes exactly what they are, an American airline. So what they had to do is over time show that people actually recognize the name, understand what it is, and they actually have a reputation in that name. So now the brand is associated with the actual company. But if you are now starting a brand, avoid a descriptive name, avoid a generic name, avoid anything that completely describes what you do, what your product is, or what your service is. Okay, so I can give a few other examples, but I don't know if you're selling books and or digital books and you call it ebook, that's descriptive. So anything that's completely descriptive, generic, will not pass. Okay, anything that's completely invented generally will pass unless it's taken. So we'll talk about that. But if let's think of no, Google was actually a word before that. So let's think about Adidas, for example. That's an invented word, as far as I know. I don't think it has any
I know
significance.
what the acronym was when I was going to school, but I
It
won't
was
say
an acronym.
it.
Trying to think of something that people as Xerox, I think, was originally invented. Nike is actually in the mythology, right? So anyway, a word that is completely invented, that's the easiest to register. You can also combine a few words together, a kind of half a word, and create your own word. So whatever is completely invented, that's the easiest. And then we have in between the suggestive trademarks. Okay, so something that suggests what you do, but does not describe it completely. Okay, so can you maybe think of an example?
That is an inventive word that does not describe it completely.
It suggests what you do, but it doesn't tell you directly what you do. Okay, so we can think of I don't know. I'm trying to think of an easy example that we all know. Nike, for example, by the way, it's as far as I know, it's the goddess of victory. So that kind of it kind of reminds sports, so it's kind of around it, but it doesn't describe what you do. It's far from describing what the brand does.
How
Let's think.
about Crocs? Because they in the word they have Croc that is coming from also from clog, that it's knowing like the kind of shoe. So they're like their name is kind of mix of like kind of, I think it's invented word, but it's kind of half of it is like kind of
Yeah,
telling about the product.
right. So most of the trademarks that our clients, come to us and want to register are either invented or suggestive. Sometimes they come to us with completely descriptive. Why? Because it's easier with SEO. Okay, if you're selling red gnomes, or if you're selling cosmetic, you first of all you want the word cosmetic in it, but that's okay if your second word is great. But if you have, I don't know, organic food today, that's like it's too generic. Okay, so try to think of something that doesn't completely describe. It's okay if one of the words is kind of hints what it is, but not directly described. So these are those that you can register. These are those that you cannot register, and then there's those in between that you can register in most cases. What you cannot register are trademarks, brands that are already taken. And I think the biggest mistake, and Michal and I were talking about like common mistakes. I think the biggest mistake is conducting a search by yourself without understanding how trademarks work. So let's take Avanci, for example. If I don't know what it is that you're selling there under Avanci. What
They're
is
an
it?
incredible coffee glass that
Oh, okay.
enhances the aroma of coffee.
Oh, very cool. Wow. Okay, so coffee glasses. So imagine you're selling that. You would go probably on the USPTO and do maybe a quick search on Google first and then on the USPTO to make sure that it's available. And then you go ahead and you manufacture those amazing glasses. And then you have a patent over the technology and everything. And then you find out that Avanci is actually available, and you were right, but Avansa, okay, with an A, or Avancis with an S at the end, is taken in relation to coffee glasses.
Mhm.
Okay. Now the law talks about confusingly similar. It doesn't talk about identical. So if Avancis is registered in relation to coffee glasses, and you come to tomorrow with coffee glasses Avanci, you'll be rejected. So your trademark will be rejected. Let's start with that. And then maybe you're going to get a warning letter because you're infringing their rights. Okay, because your product is confusingly similar, the brand is confusingly similar to theirs.
Yeah.
So careful about that. The best way to do it is to hire someone who would conduct a search for you that would be broader. Most lawyers don't charge for the search separately. So for example, at our firm, this is included already in the registration, so there's no extra fee. And if you do it early, most lawyers actually take this off the cost later of the brand. So really, they want to encourage you to do it as early as you can, instead of running with a brand that is actually taken. And they actually, a rebranding is not fun. I don't know if you
No,
guys
no, it's not.
No.
So I just want to add this, and then we'll go to a sponsor. Then we'll start talking about some suspensions and some issues that we should be looking out for. But I know not one or two, but I know many sellers that have tried to take the cheap route, and they've done through the test search, and it's
Yeah.
come back. They did it. They did their own. Now, not only with trademarks, but I can't believe they've done this, but even with patents, but it's come back to actually bite them, and it's cost them tons of money,
Yes.
tons of money. And I know when you first start out, whether it's a DDC, or if you're going on any of the the platforms like Walmart or the other guy, you want it. Sometimes you got to really be tight, but this is not where you want to be tight with your
Yeah.
money. So I highly, highly recommend anybody who's listening who is just starting out, don't cheap out here. It's not the time or the place to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, these are the mistakes cost a lot, and actually preventing it doesn't cost that much, and in any case you have to do it. If you're creating a brand, in any case you have to do to have a trademark. So searching doesn't even cost you more than that, and a trademark costs what, like $1,000, all included, all inclusive. So it's really, really very easy, and you just have to have that in mind, right?
Right.
That's kind of you have to remember to do it before you run with that brand that you kind of fell in love with, right?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So, Michal, what time is it?
It's time for a quick note from our sponsors.
All right. Wallysmarter.com is a cutting edge software tool designed to help online sellers make more money on Walmart.com. Featuring advanced keyword and product research tools, Wallysmarter identifies high demand, low competition niches for you to capitalize on. With more accurate Walmart sales estimates provided by its easy to use Chrome extension, Wallysmarter takes all the guesswork out of selling on Walmart. Be empowered to make more informed decisions and grow your business like never before. Try Wallysmarter today with no credit card required. Did I say no credit card required? Anyways, use your coupon code POWER30 and get 30% off Wallysmarter today for life. Just
So,
before, sorry, I just should mention this. We've got a ton of new listeners. And in case you're listening, we do all, well, I hope you're listening. But anyways, we have a lot of questions. And usually what we'll do is at the top of the hour, we'll be answering them all. So if you see us continue to talk, don't worry, we're not ignoring you, but we'll just combine them all at the end. Now
yes,
I'll shut
if
up
you
and I'll
really,
let
really
you
love,
talk.
sorry, if you really, really love to ask questions and you have a lot of questions not related this topic, any topic on Walmart, every other Thursday we have live Q&A the same day, the same time. So come and join us for live, and it's fun. All right, so we were just talking about mistakes that sellers do.
Yeah.
So what the most common mistake you see brand doing protecting themselves, like?
Yeah. So they do mistakes in protecting themselves. They also do many mistakes in infringing others, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So the protection mistakes that we see are the one that I just described with choosing a brand that's, first of all, choosing a brand that you may not register, so like a descriptive brand or a generic brand, and then choosing brands that cannot be registered because they're already taken. So you would not conduct a trademark search before you start. So that's on kind of on the protection side. We had many Walmart sellers who were unfortunately violating the rights of others. And on the Walmart, what we see the most that would be trademark infringement, copyright infringement, and patent infringement. So I'll start with maybe the easiest one. I think most of us know we're not supposed to use brands of third parties without their consent, except for what I described earlier, right? I can sell Nike's shoes as long as this is the original shoe, and then I can write that these are Nike shoes. That's okay because these are Nike shoes. I cannot use your brand Avanci, okay, on my listing just because I want to, without getting your consent for it. Okay, so the problem is that sometimes you're not even aware that this is a brand. So, for example, We had some complaints around Velcro, which people think is just a term, but it's actually a brand. So many people were, using that brand without actually understanding that they're using other people's brand. Or they just chose a brand that they thought was available, and turns out it's already registered. So that's the typical one. And in most cases, we know how to handle it. You have to cease this infringement. You have to stop using it, and resolve that. We often resolve it actually with the complainant. So that's the fastest way. And if not, we do it through Walmart. And then we have copyrights problems. So I think the most common mistake that we see, that would be people using either a graphic design or a photo of someone else. So people often think that if you find a photo on the internet, just Googling, I don't know, bald guys with beards, or no, I'm kidding, but just you're Googling, I don't know, Walmart, selling on the Walmart, and you just take an image from there, or you're I don't know, you're selling a phone covers, and you found a nice photo and you use it on your listing. The fact that you found it on Google does not mean that everyone is allowed to use it. Actually, there's someone who owns the copyright. So for copyright, you have to remember one thing: you cannot use any photo of any third party except for your own, those that you took yourself or you paid someone to take them for you. Okay, you paid a photographer, and the photographer gave you the rights. So that's actually pretty easy.
You just said something though.
Yeah.
The photographer, influencer, whoever gave you the rights. Because if they don't give you the rights, you don't have the rights to them, right?
Yeah. Usually if you pay, there's the assumption that you at least have the license to use it, but these are not the rights. So if you paid someone to take photos for you, usually we'd have the license to use it for the purpose that you guys discussed, right? You're saying you have a Walmart account, and you need it for your Walmart account, and then you apply. You should be okay with using it, but that's not the same as owning it. If you want to own the copyrights, the photographer actually needs to assign the rights to you. So it's actually interesting. On Fiverr, they kind of take care of it for you. Fiverr and other type of platforms, they're aware of that, and they would take care of a kind of sample contract very often. But if you do it yourself directly with the photographer, you won't necessarily think of having a small, a very small contract. This contract is very easy to obtain. You can Google it. Actually, ask ChatGPT to write it for you. The contract they write, that you can use from there are the simple ones are really good, and have that photographer assign it to you.
Can I ask you one other question about copyright? Because this could be confusing too. So just because you publish a picture doesn't give you implied copyright. Is that correct? Should you register for that copy or that picture?
Yeah. So you asked like four different questions in one. I'll tell you what. When you take that picture, I take my iPhone now and take a picture of us. I take a picture of you. I own the copyright. Okay, that's my copyrights. I own the rights in that photo, even if you appear in it, by the way. So I took that picture. I own the rights even before I actually published it on some website. Okay, So let's start with that. I own the rights. If I go to Walmart and I file a complaint, it will be accepted. I don't need any registration. I just show that's my photo. You can see it here on, I don't know, on my listing or my DTC my Shopify website. And this guy has copied my photo. Please remove it and signed Yael Cabilly, and that's it. Then they would accept the complaint. It's very, very, very easy. I even have a blog. I can send it later. A short article explaining how to file that complaint. But to answer your question, there is a registration of copyrights. It's not needed for the purpose of like filing complaints only. But if you want to file a lawsuit, you need a registration. Okay, so for example, we are filing a lawsuit in a few days. And for that purpose, we actually had to do an expedited registration with the Copyright Office so that we would have that registration. So you can do it fast if you ever need to. For images, I do not advise people to, waste their money on it. The complaints are accepted without it, so don't worry about it. If you ever want to sue someone, then you can go ahead and register. So for images, it's not worth it. If you have a special graphic design, something that appears on all your products, I don't know, you're selling paper plates with an amazing, unique tiger on it, okay, and you want to protect that, then you may want to file a copyright registration. But in all other cases, don't even bother, because you can enforce it anyway. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, if you see a nice paper plate with your supplier in China, okay, and the supplier says, "Oh, that's okay, I designed it. You can use from my catalog any paper plate that you want. Just choose one and let's start selling it." Be careful, because that can actually be a design of the previous supplier, the previous client of that particular supplier. So I would not do that, because you can get stuck with it, and then Walmart will suspend it, and you may even have your entire account suspended for that.
Good point.
Yeah. You're on mute, Michal.
Yeah, I have a question out of topic that I see over and over again. So brands that I know or work with, and they spend so much time and money to create beautiful images, and then all the suppliers in China actually using their images. Can they do anything about it?
So they're using it on Alibaba,
on AliExpress, on Temu. I
Yeah.
see it over, and sometimes we do some kind of research, and we see that actually, like the people that counterfeit them, they're actually using their pictures.
Yeah, so they can definitely file a complaint to remove those images from the actual platform. It's very easy. On all the Alibaba, AliExpress, you have to one time you have to kind of register, show all your rights, and kind of go through a process, which is a little annoying. But once you do it, you can file tons of complaints, and it's actually quite fast and easy. So if you see it on anything that's a platform, then don't hesitate to file a complaint, or you can simply tell them, "Please remove it, or I'll file a complaint," and then they'll remove it. Most of them.
But they will. I think that what's happening. They might remove it, but then 10 more sellers will use it.
Well,
like sometimes some items you see, it's like it's never end, right?
Yeah. Some people spend a lot of money on enforcing their rights, and it's interesting. I was just discussing today that the enforcement is not necessarily proportional to the size of the company. Okay, you can see a $2 million revenue company filing complaints like a 20 million company, and we have a 10 million company filing complaints like a large, like a very, very large brand, as if they're Nike. So
Yeah.
I think it really depends on how creative you are. The more you come up with a special product with a special design, people will there will be copycats, and sometimes you have to hire people to even in-house to do it for you. But if you got to that stage, then good for you. You're in a good place.
So you or we have a ton of questions. Maybe we should just talk about the types, and we've already talked about some of them, but the types of IP that Walmart sellers should have.
Yeah, the types of IP that they should protect.
Protect, yes.
Yeah. So we talked about trademarks, right?
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the brands. We talked a bit about copyright. So like I said, in terms of registration, I wouldn't bother for the images. I would bother for graphic designs and protect those. And then we haven't talked about patents. When you have, I mean, for patents, there's two separate types of patents. There's the utility patent, which is the patent that everybody usually talks about. I have an idea what I don't, let's see if it's patentable, right? These protect the functional aspects of a product. Okay, so you invented something that that isn't obvious, that didn't exist before, that is new, some kind of technology, or I don't know, a new microphone with a special technology. These can be protected through a patent. Again, as long as it's new and it's not obvious. These type of patents that we all know, they expire at some point. You have 20 years. And then they expire. The second type of patents that most haven't heard of are design patents. So for what they protect is the actual shape of the product. So not the functional part of it, but the ornamental features. So for example, the shape of the box of the AirPods and the AirPods themselves, they are protected through a design patents. If you know this product, okay, we all know those. These can also be protected through a design patent. You protect the external shape. Okay, so anyone who copies that particular product with the same shape but maybe a different color, I don't know, a different fabric or something like that, then you would be covered. Okay. The disadvantage of a design patent that it protects only a certain shape. So this one, for example, is round, but if I do a square one, it's not protected anymore, right? So it protects only this particular shape of the product. It's cheaper than a utility patent. So easy and easier to register, faster to register. So a lot of the Walmart sellers and other e-commerce sellers would go and protect their unique product through a design patent and not so much through a utility patent, which can cost actually 10 times, sometimes 10 times more, sometimes 5 times more, but it's much more expensive.
Okay. So, Kels, why don't we start on all these questions? Tons of questions.
All right. Yes, there are tons of questions. If there's any that we repeated, just let me know and we'll get to the next one. If someone is drop shipping your listing and you complain in the brand portal, they usually respond with, "We don't solve disputes between sellers," and close the case. What else can be done?
Yeah. So in this particular case, it's true. And that actually goes to what we talked earlier about the original product versus a counterfeit. If you actually prove that this is not your product, okay, it's a fake product, and they didn't buy your product and then sold it, then you can use the brand portal and report it, and they will accept it. The problem in the situation that you described is dropshipping is usually from you. In many cases, it's from you. So they buy, for example, they buy your product on Amazon and then they sell it on the Walmart. That's actually you. Okay, you're like Nike. You profited from that first sale. They paid you for that product on the first time, and then they resell it for a higher margins. So in most cases, it shouldn't even bother you because you're making money off it, and you can sell it. If it really bothers you, I would send a letter to, or at least a complaint to the seller, explain that you are not authorized to sell the product. We would like to verify if these products are original. Where do you obtain them, etc. And then try to see. But if you're looking at the legal, if you're looking at it legally, purely legally, then they are allowed to resell it. This is why Walmart is not getting involved. Okay, they're not getting involved in contracts. They're not getting involved between sellers generally, unless it's counterfeit.
Yeah, I want to add something. This is actually a very good question because this is extremely common. Like you can see it over and over again. And if you first, you need to be, if it's your brand, you need to be on Walmart. So if you're on Walmart and that's your product, your price is lower and you use WFS, nobody can take the buy box from you. And if
Yep.
you're out of stock and somebody's drop shipping, it's keeping your listing active. So find how first to be on the buy box, and like Yael said, just let it be, or just email the seller and ask him to remove himself.
Yeah, and sometimes, and if you're not there on Walmart yet, okay, then you're making money. I mean, they're selling your product. For every sale, it's sold through Amazon or wherever you're selling, and then it goes to Walmart. So like you said, be there yourself or allow the other, or if it really bothers you because I don't know, because the product is extremely high or there's something with hurting your reputation, then approach the seller. But remember what I said. It's you're legally allowed to resell any brand as long as you're selling the original one. That's the truth. That's why dropship exists.
So can I clarify something? Sometimes Michal and I will see our brands selling on Walmart before, like, let's say that we're the original brand owner. We have the trademark.
Yeah.
We can go through brand portal for that, and we can become, like, if we don't like what the person's put up there, it's the wrong information, or we just don't like, it's not grammatically correct, and we want to change that. By registering with brand portal, we'll be able to rectify that situation, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
To get the ownership, because the first seller that created the page for that product, that UPC, each product assigned with the UPC, and now you're the brand, and you finally decided to come to Walmart, and surprisingly, your product is already selling. You need to go through that process and get ownership on the page, and then you can do changes to it in any time you desire to.
So important.
Good point, Norm.
It's very similar to Amazon in that respect, Norm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, another question from the Facebook group. Some seller used the UPC of the item from a brand we work with and listed a multi-pack of another item with his own candy. What is the best way to proceed?
So I'm not sure what Walmart's terms of service writes about the multi-pack. Actually, every platform have different rules about multi-pack. I can tell you on Amazon, it's an extremely complicated rule, but generally speaking, you can't do what you want. Okay, you can't take, for example, a Nike shoe and an Adidas shoe and sell them together in a pack just because you wanted to. You're supposed to sell it like that only if it's sold like that. So I'd have to check and come back to you about Walmart's terms of service about that. But if I had to take a guess, I'd say it's not the wild west. You can't do what you want and just combine any brand together.
Okay, the next one is from a YouTube commenter. What's the legitimacy of sellers creating a brand just to list name brand products as a private listing?
Just to name brand products as a private listing? Do you understand the question, Michal? I think you're on mute.
I think what he mean is that he just put in a page on Walmart with product, maybe like private label, white label product that he just order, and he doesn't. This brand is not registered, but he just open a page and just use some kind of name to kind of list this product as a private label. Is that what you mean? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Would be good to clarify.
Okay, next question. from Kamari. Is it safe to import my listing from Amazon to Walmart? I'm seeing an area on the platform that you can import from other platforms.
That's not it. You're talking about completely importing, as in transferring with the reviews, because that's something I've heard recently from several sellers. Do you know about that, Michal?
Yeah, but he's not talking about that. He's talking there's tools, and actually Walmart. So Walmart wants you to have a unique listing content. It doesn't want you to copy your title, description, key features. But at the same time, Walmart is aware of the fact that some sellers have thousands of SKUs and they cannot launch because they cannot do that, right? So Walmart created a tool when they can just like download all their listing into a spec sheet, and then the spec sheet go upload into Walmart, and then all your listings are magically showing up on Walmart. It can be done. You can definitely do that, but your listing is not going to be optimized. So therefore, if you're planning to sell hundreds and thousands and make millions of dollars, it's not going to happen. You have to create titles that going to be following Walmart guidelines. So your title from Amazon is going to be very long. And with Walmart, a title have to be up to 75 characters. And Walmart working on a system that called listing tool score. It's scoring you. So every little part is going to get scored. Your title, your description, your key feature, your attribute, your images. So if you don't take time and actually make sure everything is following the guidelines, yes, your listing will be at Walmart. The question is if the customer will find it. That should be the question that, and again, if it's like retail arbitrage or wholesale and you have thousands of SKU, I understand, that's fine. But if you are a brand owner, definitely take the time, create a new listing, because I working with brands, I see the difference. But what happened to your listing when it's optimized? Like you can actually double your sales the next month.
Okay, the next one is interesting. Can I write patent pending on my Amazon listings or Walmart listings without having an actual patent pending and to scare hijackers?
The answer is no, as we may guess. It's actually it's completely illegal. It's not something that we see enforced, though. I haven't seen anyone going to jail for just writing patent pending. But what I've seen actually, which made me laugh and was kind of smart, some sellers, when they create a new product, they don't really care about patents. They don't intend to register a patent. What they do is they go on Fiverr, they ask whatever patent attorney that costs the least to file a patent. They pay like, I don't know, $100 just to have it filed, and then they can write patent pending. That's legal. Okay, so the quality of the patent you file doesn't really matter for the purpose of writing patent pending. But you cannot write it in any way if you haven't written it. One of the questions that we get the most is, I see patent pending on my competitor. How do I find the patent? And the problem is that for utility patents, for like 18 months, the patent is not published. So you can look for it, and you will never find it because it's not published yet. So that's an issue. So sometimes, like when you write patent pending, one, people cannot find it, so they can't see what it is and see if they can bypass your product. Okay, and two, you can actually write patent pending with whatever patent that you filed, even if it's not the highest quality. Okay, so don't do it if you haven't filed. At least file something, even if it will never get registered. Okay, so the type of patents that we saw that were filed, there is no way that they will ever proceed to registration, but they're good enough that for like months and months, the guy could write patent pending, and they say that it actually prevents about 70% of the people who are thinking about creating that product. So
yeah, that was a good tip.
Yeah. I didn't invent it.
All right, so we have a couple more questions. Are royalty-free images and videos okay for us to use as our graphics for products we are selling?
Yes. So there are specific websites that are. It's called public domain. That's the term is public domain. When it's public domain, it means that someone is actually giving you a free license to use that particular image for particular purpose. What you have to do is read what's the license for. Okay, because sometimes they would tell you you can use it for websites, for this, for that, but do not use it on products. Okay. Sometimes they would tell you if you want to use it for products, you have to do 1, 2, 3. You have to, I don't know, provide a cite my name on it. Okay. So make sure that you find it at the right place. So usually, kind of websites like there's one called Unsplash. I don't know if you know it. They
Unsplash
have
is great.
yeah. Not all the images are amazing, but at least it's public domain. And two, make sure you read the fine prints. Okay, so Wikipedia, for example, is dangerous because most of them are public domain photos, but not all of them. So click on the image, see what kind of permission it gives you, and only then use it. Okay, be careful with Wikipedia. Some people just add photos there so that people use it so that they can sue them. I know
Yeah.
people do that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And something else to keep in mind when you were talking about see exactly what the license says, sometimes if you read it and people just say, oh, it's royalty free.
Right.
Well, it depends on the terms of the license. So there might be 2 or 3 different licenses.
Yep.
One might say, I've seen this 1,000 times, that you can only use it on a label up to X number of times.
Right. Yeah.
So it might be 500,000. It might be whatever it is.
Yeah.
It might be you like you said, if you're using it as a commercial
Yeah.
presentation, you'd have to cite it. Yeah, there's so
Right.
many different things. It's not just that you can use it.
Yeah, on Shutterstock and other kind of image stocks, I often, when clients call, which license should I use? I always say that the most expensive one. That's the one.
Yeah.
So usually for products, you need the more those that appear on the packaging on the product. Usually it's the more expensive license and not just the basic ones. I think if you speak with 10 Walmart sellers, I think maybe half wouldn't even bother pay for the license, and those who did usually take the cheapest one.
Yeah.
So make sure you actually read the license.
And by the way, this is if you're going to take anything out of this podcast, write this one down. When you are using a graphic artist and they are doing your design work, even if it's for Amazon or if it's a website, this happened to me for 3 websites. I used this graphic designer. Getty picked up on it. And I got sued for about, I don't know, it was close to $300,000. And then I ended up negotiating and it was a fraction of that. But this graphic artist that I used, I thought it was all taken care of. Make sure you get the licenses for the pictures.
Yeah. That's why on the contract with the graphic designer and the photographer, they also have to declare that they own the right, or they, they invented it. They can sell it to you, and that they didn't copy it from anyone else.
Right.
So if you're doing your own contract, ask ChatGPT to include that as well.
Yeah. That's good, because a lot of people, they go to Fiverr and they're ordering, like lifestyle images, when the graphic design is taking a lifestyle image from somewhere. So how do you know? So you have to actually
you never know when you use those platforms.
But they need to show you they have the right.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to show you if they created something for you. They tell you, I created it for you. You kind of have to rely on them. That's why, if you find good designers, you may want to keep them long term. Changing all the time is you take a risk. Sometimes they just use something that they already created, or use something that they saw somewhere, and then they say, the chances that I'll get caught are slim, and that's right. But when you are caught, it's not nice, especially if Getty is involved, right?
Oh, Getty's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even with we joke about ChatGPT or Midjourney, but there are debates about the legalities of who owns or how to cite
Right.
what you're writing, and like all those images. I've been reading a little bit about who actually owns those images. Is it Midjourney,
So,
ChatGPT?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's we're actually writing now a piece about that. So we maybe we should do a podcast about those. When you think about ChatGPT, what they do, and there's a big controversy around it because
Mhm.
copyright protects the exact same text, more or less, or a confusingly similar, like I said earlier, a similar text. So if I wrote something and then you copied the exact same thing, you're infringing. Easy, right? You took my listing, the description in my listing, you put it on yours, you're infringing. But what if you didn't? What if you just took the idea and did just like what ChatGPT is doing, which is rewriting it in a completely different way, just taking the idea?
Yeah.
Not much you can do. It's not infringing. It's not violating. It's a new. You actually own new copyrights. Okay, so that's it's kind of everybody is kind of embarrassed because the law didn't go that far. Okay, so and photographer who took those pictures, they see their, or artists who designed something, they see something that's really based on their work and they know it and everybody knows it, but there's not much they can do because it's different. So currently the law didn't go that far. I think that it will change the laws in the future, but right now it's just it's like what we talked earlier. It's the freedom to kind of copy, and as long as you didn't copy verbatim and exactly the same.
Okay.
All right, I think we're gonna take our last question.
Okay, we'll do one more. So, if we purchase a product from a supplier in China, for example, what steps should we do as Walmart sellers to be taking to ensure we're not part of unlawful activity with a Chinese supplier to avoid us getting our stores suspended?
So it depends what kind of suspension you're referring to. If you're talking about the types of suspensions we talked about earlier, the IP suspension, and you're working with a Chinese supplier, I would think of two main things, three things to which kind of sum up the entire hour. One, the brand that you'll have on your product, make sure that it's not taken, that you can register it in the future, that you didn't violate any other brand. You do that by conducting a trademark search through your attorney or yourself. The second thing you have to make sure is that you're not copying a graphic design, photo, or text of someone else. So if your supplier tells you this is a graphic design that I've made, this tiger on the paper plate, remember, is mine, we designed it. Don't do it. Just have your own designer do your own graphic design for your own paper plate and then produce that. So try to do it yourself instead of taking something that already exists. And as for the shape of the product and the functionality, you have to make sure you're not violating any design patent or patent of a third party. For that, you have two choices. One would be to conduct a search. Okay, is that bottle protected by a design patent? Conduct a search, or simply create your own design. Okay, so if you create your own design of a bottle, the chances that it will be protected, that someone else has done the exact same thing and has already protected that, are much lower. So the more you're creative, the less problems you may have. And if you do not violate it, the chances that you'll be suspended for intellectual property are extremely low. And like we discussed, Michal, I suggest we do maybe an additional session with my partner Shira about other types of violations on the Walmart. There's so many, and some of the questions that were raised here earlier she can also discuss them and get into the details of Walmart's agreement.
Yeah, definitely. We will have another episode about suspension because that's
Yep.
that's a big
Yeah.
topic. I know you handling those. I'm getting messages on people getting suspended all the time.
Yeah.
So it is a real situation with Walmart, and the good news is suspension is just Walmart telling you, we're watching you, and you better
Yeah.
stop doing what you're doing. It's not the end.
They
It's just
warn you.
like a very, very polite warning,
Yeah.
and you're very lucky because termination is it. That's the end.
That's a different story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just wanted to add something, and I think it's important when we're talking about patents. And I might be wrong. I am not a lawyer, so you are. It's so important, from what I understand, that if you're going to go down the patent route, is that you have to do it within the year. If it goes past a year of you publishing or it going onto the web, then it's 1 year, 1 day. It's too late. Is that
In the
right?
United States and in Europe, you have 1 year from the moment you published it. So you can go ahead and sell and see if it goes well. And if it goes well, file for a patent. In other countries, you have to do it before you publish. So for example, in China, you can't come after a year and try to register the patent. It won't work. It's too late. So if you're serious about this product, you may want to file it before you publish. If you're not sure if it's just a product that in any case is intended for the US and Europe only, then you may want to wait and see how it goes and only then apply for it. But the maximum is 1 year, absolutely.
All right. Okay. Is that it, Michal?
Yes, that was very long but amazing information. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Definitely, we will have another episode with Shira. And everybody, please like, share, comment, and we will see you next Thursday. Actually, next Thursday we have another podcast. With I was One of the things that I wanted to do on this podcast is really to bring very successful sellers, and we have a very amazing person, a very successful seller, super success story on Walmart to inspire you guys. So that's going to be next Thursday.
What's her name?
Oh, we don't tell. We're gonna post it in a few days.
Okay, all right.
It's
Her.
You guys, it's all posted in the group, so follow up, and it will be posted.
Perfect.
So that's it. All
Yes.
right.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thank
you're
you.
very welcome. Okay, everybody. Thanks a lot. And we will see you
Bye.
next week.
Bye. Bye. Bye.